Thank you for tuning into my channel. This is my question and answer video for December 2021. So if you want to see some of my answers to your questions, please stay tuned. There are 4 questions that I have for this month's question and answer. If you have a question for me and you want me to answer it on the Q&A, you can go ahead and put it in the description box of any video wherever you have the question. And at the end of each month, I go through and I answer all of the questions on a video. I will also answer you individually, so if you don't get a chance to see the Q&A or you ask the question at the very beginning of the month, I will, you'll already have an answer, and the answer will just be for all the other people who may not have seen your question. So here we go. Question 1. This question is about making a memory pillow from a t-shirt. I'm going to link that video in the description box. And her question was about other options for backing the pillow or the shirt instead of using interfacing. Her concern was that she had an iron-on the front, and that it would that it could melt when you're applying the interfacing. And so my suggestion is to double check your instructions for your interfacing. And when I first did this, I did not check my instructions, and so I fried a couple of irons, and because the stuff got on the back or on the plate of the iron. But what my interfacing does, in the instructions, it says to use a damp press cloth. So I use a piece of fabric that I dip in water and kind of wring it out with my hands, and that really helps. It's like not as much heat gets to the other side. So I think that would help. Another thing that I might suggest is using, you could use quilt batting. There are quilt battings that are fusible. I don't know a lot about them, but I have seen them, the fusible batting. And so you could use that to line your t-shirt, or you could just use regular batting and either pin really, really well, or baste it down. The reason that I use the interfacing was because when I have a t-shirt, it stabilizes that t-shirt so that it's not stretchy. So if you are concerned about that, you can just make sure you use a press cloth, or use a thicker interface, and that could help too. Or use fusible batting or regular batting. All right, so next question is, about the show and tell video. So if you follow my channel, you know that at the end of each month, or at the beginning of each month, I do a show and tell video. That's where subscribers or watchers of my videos can send me pictures of finished projects, and I will share them as a part of a show and tell. And as I said, I make those videos for the first of every month. There really is no, she asked if there was a deadline to submit those, and there really is not one, because the day that I make that video is a little bit different every month. I don't have a set day that I sit down and make the video for the show and tell. So whenever you send it in, if it's before I've made that video for the month, then I'll put it in there. If not, I'm going to push it back to the next month. That has not been an issue yet. But you can send, if there are any finished projects that you'd like me to share with my subscribers, leave them, or you can send them to me at purplequiltco@gmail.com. I'm going to put that right here in the video and in the description box so that you can check that out. You can send me pictures of your projects and tell me a little bit about them, and I will share them with my subscribers. The next question is about repairing quilts. I have actually 2 videos about quilt repair. This question was about the first video that I did, and like I said, I will link it. In that video, I repaired the quilt by sewing some little panels together and then attaching them onto the quilt. And her question is, can you repair a quilt using an iron-on, for example. And so when I answered her, my concern about using an iron-on for a quilt repair is that I don't like the frayed edges, so or the raw edge. So whenever I made the repairs to the quilts that I show in my videos, I did a blind stitch around them so that the edges were not raw, they were folded. So that's my only concern, and I'm sure there are a ton of other videos about quilt repair. I just did a little quick one because that was something that I was working on. Again, both of those videos are going to be linked in the description so that you can check those videos out. Now for my last question, it is, what do I do with novelty fabrics? The question that I got was, it asked if I had like a hexi bowl, and I don't really keep hexagons. I've never made a pattern with hexagons, even though I desire to make a hexi quilt one day. I think it would be gorgeous. I just haven't made it that far yet. So what I do is I put anytime I get a novelty fabric, I put it with the other fabrics that I have, so they're ready to use. If I get a scrap of novelty fabric, I have some pre-cut measurements that I cut to 2.5-inch squares, 5-inch squares, and I do have a place for 2.5-inch strips upstairs. Excuse me. So all of those are different ways that I can store the scraps. If it's a really tiny scrap, of course I keep it with my crumbs, but generally I just put my yardage with all the other yardage, so I don't separate it out by novelty. Okay, so I hope that answers your questions. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have any additional questions about what you've seen, leave them in the comments below. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!